La bola se vuelve loca. Ábrame la puerta porque me voy. Adiós. Plakata.
Welcome back, everybody, to Plakata Nation, new and improved.
Woo!
All right, so we're really excited about this. Introducing again the one and only, my cuz from the Bronx. Rod, what's going on, my man? Welcome back.
We back, baby. We back. Yes. Carlos, it has been a while, but it's good to be back. It feels good. I'm so psyched. I'm so excited. Plakata Nation community, the people we in here. Wow, Carlos. It's good to see you, brother. It's good to see you.
Hey, it's great to see you as well. And I'm even more excited because I talked about this being the new version of Plakata Nation is because we're really excited about this partnership. We want to welcome Jesus Ortiz, a longtime beat writer in New York, Los Angeles, Houston, columnist for in St. Louis, and most importantly, the first Latino president of the Baseball Writers Association of America.
We got a stud. This is
yes,
stud,
sir. I bring big
this
hitters,
is
man.
credibility, brother. Oh my God.
Talking about going Plakata. Welcome, Jesus. We're really glad to have you.
Welcome, brother. Welcome, Jesus.
Gracias, brothers. I'm so excited. I'm ready. I'm ready to have my Plakata day. Plakata all the way. Let's go.
This is the way we started, right? That's the way we do it. We have so much to talk about, guys. Right? Most importantly, I know, Rod, this has been on your mind. You wanted to just talk about this. And here we are. Let's just go ahead and hack it down. All right. Free agency.
Yeah.
What's going on? This is a frenzy going on out there, and rightfully so, right?
I mean, as you can tell, so there's a slight big name out there that's available that I think a lot of people want. I don't know if you've heard of him. His name is Juan Soto. And we're all going crazy here in New York. You know what I mean? Both sides, the Yankees and the Mets. But then you got other teams going crazy. You got the Blue Jays up in Toronto. You have the Red Sox up in Boston. You know what I mean? You might have the Dodgers involved. We don't know. This is huge. Like this is the biggest name out there since Ohtani.
Yeah.
But now it feels like it's more teams involved, and it's just wild what's happening right now, Carlos. Like it really is.
Yeah, and so when you look at that, right? Like the impact of one player, the impact of Juan Soto. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Tremendous impact. He is a generational player. 5 Silver Sluggers at 26. The only other person to do that, a guy named Mike Trout. The dude is legit. I remember, you're going to love this because you played with him, Carlos, Jose Altuve, right? Generational player. When my kids wanted jerseys, Carlos Correa, Jose Altuve, Alex Bregman, I said, we're getting you Jose Altuve. And they said, why? I said, because I love Jose Altuve. He plays the game right. But also, he's going to be here for the length of your ability to wear this jersey before you grow up. And I noticed our cousin, Cuz Rod, that is a Aaron Judge jersey, not a Juan Soto. Very smart purchase.
99, baby. That contract is locked, Jesus. It's locked. These jerseys are expensive.
He knew not to buy a Soto jersey.
Okay, so we look at that because I see you making a campaign. Obviously, you come on very proudly, Rod, with your Yankee jersey. And I know that your heart is absolutely broken with the way things went in the World Series. But you personally, and you could speak for an entire fan base, you personally understand the impact that Juan Soto had in that ball club. And I know that you all dream to have him back as part of your team because that 1-2 punch, Judge, Soto, it was absolutely historic.
It was. And let me tell you something right now. And Carlos, I sent you an audio message of the at-bat, and I call it the at-bat because it should be hung in the Louvre, of Juan Soto against the Guardians. I've never seen anything like that in my life. Like, when you talk about theatrics, you talk about movies, you talk about Oppenheimer, you talk about Oscar award-winning, film. That at-bat was an Oscar award-winning film. I have never seen a batter bait a pitcher in that way. He knew what he wanted, and he got it, and he sent it over the wall. It was amazing. It was a Yankee moment, And, it's something where as a fan, why wouldn't you want more of that? That's what you want. That's what we all want as fans of the Yankees. But then I'm looking at it as a baseball fan, a Met fan. Why wouldn't they want that? Or a Red Sox fan or a Blue Jay fan? This is something where you look at it and you just say you're in awe, you're captivated by the talent, like Jesus says, the talent that this guy brings to the table.
Yeah. Jesus, one of the things that I like to talk about when I mention Soto is because we understand the numbers that he put up, right? They were very impressive. But I get down to the nitty-gritty. I'm looking at the approach. I'm looking at the way he focuses on his process and how he executes it. That's what you're talking about, Rod. That at bat right there is a perfect example of someone who does not, a hitter, who never takes a pitch off. A lot of times in the clubhouse, we're talking about, hey, we cannot give away at bats. But with Juan Soto, it's very common, right, among hitters. But with Juan Soto, it's more about, I'm not giving away a pitch. I mean, and you see the shuffle and all of that. I know a lot of people think that that's a way for him to be kind of taunting the pitcher or being a little bit more, like a hot dog type attitude. That's not the case. The problem is that he is so focused on that one pitch that he's submerged in that his own little world on that one pitch, and his reaction after it happens, it's kind of like a shuffle. It's almost like a tick that he's got. Yeah. It's nothing against the pitcher. It's just him being 100% committed on being fully present and being fully invested on executing his plan on that particular pitch. I imagine that after every single game, right, he is exhausted mentally because of that degree of focus that he has on every pitch that is thrown to him.
Absolutely. You talk about being focused on every pitch, taking what you want, not what the pitcher wants you to take. He's led the league in walks 3 years. Led it last year at 132. He got 129 walks this year. He didn't lead the league, but 129 walks. That's impressive. 145 in 2021, 135 in 2022.
Oof.
I saw this year how him and Judge back to back, just the magic that is. And again, as a fan of this team and as a baseball fan, you see those two guys together and you just see the impact that Juan Soto has on an at bat with against a pitcher to a lineup, and I hear people out there, on Twitter, X, whatever, IG, all saying, well, this guy's going to get a lot of money. That's a lot of money for a single player. All he hits is 40 home runs and stuff. And you said it, Jesus. It's not that. It's the little things. It's the little things that he does that affects an entire lineup. It affects the person batting in front of him, the person batting behind him. Those are things you can't put a price on. Am I right, Carlos?
Yeah, let's get down to it, right? Let's analyze this situation because now we're looking at the fact that we saw what Ohtani got last year, and Ohtani is a two-way player. It's a different type of player, even though he went and only was a designated hitter for the Los Angeles Dodgers and had a monstrous season, and we could see the impact that he had as a hitter. So now we're like, okay, what do we do with Soto, right? If I am an owner, or a GM, I have to really dive deep into return on investment, et cetera, right? Like, am I really, is it really worth for me to put up all that amount of money on one player in particular? So the argument is, wait a second, Soto, he just hit 40 home runs. I'm like, oh my God, that's 40 home runs, right? And then you see also the on-base percentage. And this is what I want you guys to think about, all right? That ingredient, adding that ingredient to your lineup, right? It increases the possibility of the ball club winning games at the end of the day. And if I am a businessman, I'm thinking the more games I win, the more money I make, right? So return on investment, right? I'm just trying to be as subjective as possible. Leave the fan, experience to the side, the emotions to the side. Now let's think about how many scoring opportunities does Soto create? So if he doesn't swing the bat, he is on base, right? You got Judge in there as well. and we can argue, where do you want Soto? Behind him, in front of him, right? We can argue all you want about that. But being on base, it's extremely important if you want to increase your probabilities of scoring runs, right? Soto does that. But when he swings the bat, and Jesus, you mentioned this, he hits what he wants to hit, right? If you look at the stats over, you got to dive deeper, because this stat right here is almost, I call it the Plakata rate, and people laugh at it, but it's actually a way of me looking deeper into his ability to square the ball up. Hard hit balls per swing attempt. All right. So focus for a second here, cuz. All right. Think about this. Every single time he attempts to swing the bat, right? So I'm including foul balls. I'm including swings and misses. All right. Juan Soto has been perennially leading all of Major League Baseball as far as hard hit balls per attempt. So you could say, based on that he's the best hitter in all of Major League Baseball. And he has been so. He has been precisely that over the last few years. So not only does he hit the ball hard consistently at a rate that no one else is doing, they're not at the same level, he's also walking. So either he hits a missile or he's on first base with a walk. Now, that is the ideal scenario for an offensive player. If you don't swing the bat, you're on first base. If you swing it, you hit an absolute rocket somewhere. At least
it's pick your poison
more than anybody else.
It's pick your poison. It really is.
Also consider this, and you, Carlos, know this way better than any of us could ever imagine. The mental state is so important with the ball players. When you're playing with Juan Soto, you don't have to carry the team. You know that there's a dog out there that in the biggest moment is going to step up. Juan Soto's swagger, esa confianza, esos, well, I don't want to call it, pero like the rancheros, he has them.
Oh, he has it. Sazón.
He has it.
He has it. In 2019, he came down to Houston. The kid led his team to the World Series. You could ask Garrett Cole how that went.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And this year, what he did with the Yankees, a team that hadn't been to the World Series in 15 years. He has the sazon. And I covered the Mets when they went to the Subway Series. I was a backup Yankees writer in 99. And then I saw the Mets, the Yankees. Confidence is so important. Mm-hmm. I remember Kenny Rogers giving up a walk-off walk because he wouldn't throw a strike in 99. In New York, it takes a special person. Yeah. Not everybody has el sazon to play in New York. So if I were a betting man, he's either going to play at Citi Field, which is rocking all the time to begin with.
Yes.
Or Yankee Stadium. You cannot let New York guys leave. And by New York guys, I mean the Reggie Jacksons, Derek Jeters, Aaron Judge, Juan Soto. Guys who aren't going to be intimidated by guys booing them. That is what Juan Soto brings to the table. And that is why Juan Soto cannot leave New York. The Mets, put it this way. The Mets win the World Series if you put Juan Soto with Francisco Lindor.
I was going to say that. I was going to say that. And I'm honestly, and I agree with you 100%, Jesus. He's a New York guy. He's tested through in and throughout. Let me tell you something. When you're in Yankee Stadium and the team's not doing well, you're going to hear it. Like those bleacher creatures, that's real. Like that's not like people think, oh no, that's real. And to have that pressure to feel it on your back and to still perform the way he did, you can't put a price on that, and again, you were talking about with him, with Lindor. And again, I know he's a New York guy, and I know it's either going to be the Yankees or the Mets, but I'm also just thinking, you hear Toronto. Could you imagine him batting in front of Vladdy Jr.? Can you imagine him batting in front of Carita in Boston? Can you imagine that? That's sick. That is disgusting. A pitcher is gonna have to face that. You know what I mean? So I hope it happens. I hope it happens for my team. In all honesty, I'm just throwing it out there. But in all actuality, I agree with you 100%, Jesus. This is either going to be a show in the Bronx or a show in Queens. I have a hard time seeing another team out there that's going to pull that. And you know what? You said it. He's old. He went into Houston, did that. He knew that. He was the show. Juan Soto has that in him. He has that showmanship in him. That's what he's about. He likes being on the stage. He's not afraid of it, and he's going to put it out there. Whether it's going to be in Queens or Bronx, we're going to find out in a few weeks.
You guys make a good point. I think we have a quote of the day, later on. But when you said, "Do not," as you said, "Do not let a New York guy leave." that is right. That's on perfect. Right there.
That's perfect.
And Juan Soto thrived in New York in the biggest stage, where's the most pressure. Now, this is the thing. Another thing you said, Rod, that I noted was you can't put a price on that. But there is a price on that. And it seems like it's going to be north of $700 million. That's what's going to take, which is absolutely insane. So earlier I was talking about, hey, as an owner, as a businessman, I have to think about return on investment. What does it bring to the table? Am I you need to do some sort of budget engineering when it comes to putting a team together, because it's not just, hey, I only need one player. You have to go out there and acquire different pieces. So there is something to be said about that, except when you have guys like Steve Cohen, when Cashman on the other side as well comes from the line of, right, we're talking about George Steinbrenner, who very famously said, yeah, I got an ego. This is about ego, right? He said, I'm here to win. So it's not exactly, is this good business? It's more like, I just want to win. It doesn't really matter. Steve Cohen's got that type of mentality as well. So I do agree with both of you that it's still going to be, he's still going to stay in New York. I just don't know whether it's going to be the Mets or the Yankees. If I were the Yankees, I would do everything in my power to not let him walk. And everything in my power means that I have to go deep into my pockets and pay whatever he's asked for. Now, that's easier said than done because I'm spending someone else's money. All right. And they do have other responsibilities. But if there's someone who can just go all out and spend whatever it takes to bring him back, it's the Yankees or Steve Cohen, regardless of who else he's got to go out there or what the luxury, the luxury tax, whatever, that it's not even in play when we're talking about teams in New York.
Let me tell you this. I'm sorry. So let me just tell you this. Steve, I've been saying this, and I've been saying this for a while. Steve Cohen has the deepest pockets in all of Major League Baseball, and I think possibly in all of sports. He's a guy that wants to win. When he took ownership of the Mets, I remember the press conference. He says, I want to win within 5 years. This man is determined to win. He's a prime-time businessman who's done really well on Wall Street, better than many. And he's a guy he's a fan of the team. That's the team he grew up watching. He would go as a kid to go see them at Shea Stadium. He is about winning. He wants this team to have the best possible chance to win. And right now, he has the ability, more than anyone, all right, more than anyone, even more than the Yankees, to go out there and tell Juan Soto and Scott Boras, here's a check. We want you in Queens. Are you coming?
Keep in mind, there was a reason many owners were hesitant to let him into the club, because they knew his pockets were much deeper than theirs and that he was willing to do whatever it takes to win. And listen, I'm a guy who named my middle daughter Maya Shea Ortiz, because I met my wife at Shea Stadium. I covered the Mets. That fan base has the most loyal fans in America. They are hungry to win. They will do whatever it takes. And as far as money, even when teams lose money, they never really do lose money, because when they tell the teams, they get it all back. It's like putting stuff into your house. The equity will work out in the end. But it really is about winning. And I think, with David Stearns, Steve Cohen hired a very smart guy and who worked for Jeff Luhnow here in Houston. and was part of the building of this the greatest American League dynasty, I would say, during the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows how to build a team. And I think they're so close now. They learned from the mistakes they made a year ago with all those pitchers that they ended up trading before the season. With a guy as young as he, it's not that big of a risk.
No.
Like the Albert Pujols deal
Yep.
didn't work out with the Angels, but this deal, the guy's 26 years old.
Yeah.
He's a winner. Give him 13 years, give him $700 million, and say, "Do your thing, young man." He's a leader. He has great charisma. 4-time All-Star. I mean, there's nothing this guy hasn't done.
Goodness, I'm telling you, I'm really excited to see what's going to happen there at the end with Juan Soto. He has definitely reached that pinnacle of his career. You know, I would say that there's still room for improvement, which is a scary thing. But I guess getting to this free agency at this level and coming off the season that he had and playing in New York, I don't think you could, make up a better formula, right? 26 years old, went to the World Series. Yankees are in there, and he was a huge part of why they were able to make it so far. I mean, he is just sitting pretty in a perfect scenario, and he can just sit back and understand that, hey, it's all a bidding war now, and he will be able to choose what uniform he wears, and that is a great accomplishment at 26 years old. How about
Definitely,
that?
yeah.
And as soon as I know that, we can sit here and talk about Soto all day long, but I know that there are other great free agents out there, and that if you make one of these very strategic acquisitions, you could really improve your ball club. So let's talk about the rest of the guys out there.
Well, you think of the Mets, right? And you're like, okay, if you bring in Soto, you still need pitching. Why not go get Corbin Burns? That's the number one pitcher on the market. The Mets are in on him. If they bring in Burns and Soto's, like, I'm just going to start, just planning. I'm going to make my reservations for October at Citi Field in Queens, because they'll, but that's the top pitcher, right? And then you also have to talk about Alex Bregman. Where's third baseman? A winner. Ese muchacho is the type of player I'd want on my team.
Yeah.
He is smart, confident, clutch, winner.
He's a dog, man. He's a dog.
Man,
When you hear that term, you've heard that term a lot. He's a dog. He is. And as a guy who hunted my team for a lot of years in the postseason, I definitely know and I see it. And that guy, Jesus, I know you've seen him up close. There's something about him. Yeah, he does have that aura of him when he's on the field and when he's in the batter's box.
I've covered baseball for 25 years in all the biggest markets, New York, LA, and I always say and you tell me if I'm wrong, Carlos, the greatest motivator is hunger.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why a lot of the athletes that you see, the best athletes, they have these stories of growing up poor, growing up hungry. But when I see a guy like Alex Bregman, who grew up beautiful, idyllic New Mexico, educated family, his dad's a big-time attorney, his mom is awesome, then I'm like, how does this kid drive? It's drive.
Yeah.
Drive. This guy's a winner. This guy played college ball. I still remember the day the Astros drafted him. It was the day, Carlos Correa had just made his debut in Major League Baseball, and we're sitting there in Chicago, and I think Guaranteed Rate Field was the name of the park at the time. And people were like joking with Carlos, "Hey, Carlos, they found your replacement." Ended up they just moved him to third base. But you talk about New York players. You don't have to play for New York, but you talk about Altuve, Bregman, Correa, guys the Astros have taken into New York, have been booed, treated like crap, and just been like, bring it. I am here to dominate. This guy's a winner, and if you're looking to win, you bring in Alex Bregman. And I don't know that the Astros are going to be able to play in that ball game, in that ballpark, because he is a Scott Boras guy. But the Blue Jays, the Mariners. If the Mariners want to get ahead of the Astros, they better go get Alex Bregman. But if he wants to stay, I think Boras, because he proved it with Jose Altuve. If the guy wants to stay, he will make sure that they work out a deal. But I just don't know that the Astros can give him 7 years and 182 million, which is probably what it's going to take.
Jesus, I'm gonna preface this and I'm gonna segue it into the next player in the free agency. There's certain guys that you see them and you'd be like, but you're a career this player. Bregman, I liken him like Altuve. I feel like he's a career Astro. He's a guy that's just that uniform is almost tattooed to his skin, and it would be so jarring to see him in a Mariner uniform or a Blue Jay uniform. And this next player I'm going to mention, and we were talking about his team, Pete Alonso.
Yep.
I view Pete Alonso as a career Met. Again, I'm a Yankee fan, but I've seen Pete a lot play, and I can't see him in another uniform. He's a guy that belongs. He's a career Met. He's done so much damage as a Met. Jesus, what are your thoughts on Pete Alonso? Could you see the Mets? Let's say they signed Juan Soto. All right. Do you see them going right around and saying, "Hey, listen, we got to bring back Pete Alonso"?
I think if you sign Juan Soto, the next thing you do is to invest in pitching. So I don't think they could do both. Yeah. Cohen could do it. He has the money, but I don't. If you're trying to build a roster, David Stern's probably going to say, if you give me the money, I'll do it. But usually what happens, the owner says, this is your budget, and I'll go over on this guy. They rarely go over on two guys.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I mean, even before free agency started, right, during the World Series, I was just talking about the fact that I don't think the Mets would sign Alonso back, not because he's, they're down on him. On the contrary, they would love to have him back. But that is if they weren't to sign Juan Soto. So I'm thinking to myself that Alonso walks. And I know this pains a lot of Mets fans, and it does me as well. I mean, you're talking about it, Rod, you're right on. I mean, Alonso is one of those guys who's beloved in New York. And I know that he had a down season for what we've seen him do in the past. If anything, I'm thinking to myself, any other team out there is thinking, could we get a premier power hitter, a force on the lineup for somewhat of a discount, just simply because he had a difficult season, a season that I know that he wishes he would have done better. And we know what he's capable of doing. And then maybe you sign a perhaps slight discount, and then you are hoping for the upside because we've seen what Alonso can do, right? So I think the other teams are in play more than the Mets, because the Mets are going to go full in on Soto. I don't think they can do both. I wouldn't even, thinking about it objectively, I don't think you should do both, because they would be tying themselves up for a lot of money, and then it would be crippling to them. They would not give them, even if it pans out and these guys go out there and just go off, it still cripples them in order to get a pitcher that they need, or a few pitchers, arms in the bullpen. So it's very difficult to give up your flexibility if you do sign Juan Soto. So I do not see Pete Alonso coming back to the Mets. I'm sorry, Mets fans.
The crazy and the sad thing is, for Alonso, at 29 years old, he literally just had the worst season of his career.
At the wrong time, man.
And the trend, as far as WAR, the last 2 years have been his two worst, not counting the COVID season, have been the worst 2 years of his career. So you're trying to figure out what the guy's going to do at age 34 when age 28 and 29 are already lower than ever before. So I just think I have a lot of confidence in David Stearns. David Stearns is one of the best baseball guys, very analytical. I just don't see him saying, hey, you know what? We want you back for baseball reasons.
Yeah. All right, guys. Yeah. Well, hey, let's talk about our boy Willie Adames. Rod, he's out there. He's out
Man,
there.
that guy, we've interviewed him before. I love Willie. Willie's one of these guys that he has this smile that's just electric, like like a Lindor from the Mets.
Yeah.
He has this vibe that is just you gotta love it. And Willie is coming into his pre-agent, into his prime at the right time. There's a lot of suitors out there, and a lot of really good suitors. You got the Dodgers. You got the Mets, you got the Yankees, you got the Red Sox, you have the Blue Jays, you got the Mariners. You have a lot of teams out there that can use the services of this guy. This guy is consistent, good glove on the field, good clubhouse guy. Another guy that's tough, doesn't take crap from anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, Carlos, you know Willie for a very long time. What can you tell us more about him?
He's a gamer, and I'm big on makeup because if you're going to invest long term and you're going to invest a substantial amount of money on a player, you have to know that that signing, I guess, or that opportunity is going to be you're going to have a good steward, right? Not only is he going to go out there and show up every single day and perform, you know what you're getting with him, but also you want to make sure that he presents you well and that you can count on him, right? Accountability is huge. And I know Willie is one of those guys that you can just take it to the bank because this guy is going to come and play hard every single day. Guy prepares. The guy is focused. You know that off the field, he is locked in. It's one of those guys that's a true professional. And now, looking at it from the analytical point of view, Jesus, I think that Adames could improve. When I look at his numbers and I see the power numbers, you're like, well, the power's there. And then I see, you're like, well, his batting average is not, way up there. I'm like, precisely. You see those walks to strikeout ratios. The batting average is a little bit lower. You see the power numbers. You see the great defense. I'm like, goodness, man, a little bit of an adjustment on his approach as he continues to tweak and mold his strategy at the plate. We could see a perennial 30 home run hitter, a Gold Glove type of defense every single day at shortstop at this premium position, and you will see those OBP numbers, on base percentage numbers, climb. So as the on base climbs, just tells me that you're being more disciplined at the plate. We're talking about Juan Soto earlier. Then I also expect the power numbers to go up because it goes hand in hand. As the approach gets more pristine and effective, then his numbers and production will also increase. So I am bullish on Willie Adames in all sense of the word.
How about this? Listen to this. How about if you're the Astros and you lose Bregman, who is, 7 years, looking for 7 years, 182 million. He's essentially 19 months older than Adames. This is what I would do if I'm the Astros. I would sign Willie, who's going to be cheaper, move him to third, and lock up that side, and I'd be very comfortable in going after a pennant next year if I could not sign Alex Bregman.
I see you willing and dealing. I see you. That's a
You know
good
what I mean?
call.
Yeah.
That's a shortstop, and he's a winner too. Like Milwaukee Brewers, he's been in the center of that winning culture. Every year, people overlook the Brewers, and every year there go the Brewers.
Yep.
He's a winner. He's been a mainstay of a very big winning culture.
He is. And you know what? I like that idea for the Astros. But again, it's like you look around, he's a guy that could just fit in a lot of teams, like I think about him. What if he's a guy? Yeah, I've heard, I don't know if you guys heard anything, but I heard the Dodgers are looking at him. Could you imagine they add that to that team? Like that's insanity. You know what I mean?
The Dodgers,
like, and then he said, and as soon as you said, he's open to playing in other positions. So by him saying that, it kind of shows you the type of player he is. Where what if let's say the Yankees are out on Soto, they do need to cover a lot of positions there. They're not going to sign Gleyber Torres. I don't think that's happening. So that's an opening at second base and an opening at third base. Because what I could see them doing is moving Jazz Chisholm to second base. You could put Willie at third base. I kind of dig that, and I kind of like that lineup. If you add Adames to it, I think Adames is in a point right now where he is almost like Soto, not in the money sense, but he has a lot to choose from, and he could put himself in a really good position to win a ring within the next few years.
Guys, it's just going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. You know what's really cool about these guys is that these guys are fighters. I mean, all these guys are good guys, right? Like role models,
Yeah.
you know, to go ahead and model your life after, you know, the way they've worked throughout the years to get to this point to free agency. And it brings us to the quote of the day, right? In Plakata Nation, we make sure that we, elevate in all sense of the word. And the quote of the day today is, you can, you should, and if you're brave enough to start, you will. That's Stephen King for you guys. And I love that because these guys are the perfect example of perseverance, the perfect examples of having a goal. I mean, we look at their trajectory ever since they were very, very, very young. We talk about Juan Soto, his beginnings over there in Dominican Republic, and perhaps not being the highest touted prospect at that particular moment when he signed. And now look at him, Willie Adames. You know, Pete Alonso was also on the podcast, and he was just, it was fabulous to hear his beginnings and how hard he worked for him to get himself to free agency and be one of those sought after stars. You know, we're looking at Bregman being an absolute dog, LSU, you know, and Adames, you know, coming also from the DR and Santiago de los Caballeros, right? His humble beginnings and to find himself in this situation. It all starts with that dream, that mentality, right? You set forth the vision, you set forth that goal, and you go after it. And look at them now, Jesus. That's what it's all about. And that's the message that we want to make sure that we transmit to everyone that's out there listening to Plakata Nation. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure, all right? We are going to wrap it up for today, right? And we invite you to do it again with us next time. We can't wait. Jesus, because Rod, thanks for joining me today.
It's a pleasure.
Plakata.